The briefing room fell silent as Instructor Vexler S4I swept across the assembled cadets of the Galactic Defense Academy. His Cotonus plates clicked nervously, a tell that Jennifer had learned to recognize over the past 3 months. The Void Walker Vexler began, his translator rendering his species' harsh clicks into something resembling comprehensible speech. Is unlike any enemy you will face in your careers. It exists partially outside our dimension. Energy weapons pass through it. Kinetic rounds phase through its form. Explosives might as well be fireworks. No weapon can stop him. Jennifer exchanged a glance with Alex, the only other human in their cohort. His jaw was set in that stubborn way she'd come to recognize as trouble. Then how do we fight it? Asked Zeth, a Cavalian whose species had mastered plasma manipulation centuries before humanity had discovered fire. You don't, Vexler said flatly. You evacuate. You run. You pray to whatever deities your species acknowledges that it loses interest. He paused, mandibles twitching. The Void Walker has decimated 13 colonies in the past cycle. Millions dead. The best any species has managed is delay. The briefing continued with tactical retreat procedures, evacuation protocols, and the signs of an impending Voidwalker manifestation. Jennifer took notes dutifully, but her mind wandered to the problem, a being that existed between dimensions, untouchable by conventional means. After the briefing, she found Alex in the armory. Tell me you're not thinking what I think you're thinking, Jennifer said, watching him examine a rack of projectile weapons relics from humanity's pre-spaceflight era that the Academy kept for historical purposes. I'm thinking, Alex replied, hefting an old rifle, that everyone in the galaxy has tried energy weapons and exotic particles and dimensional disruptors. But have they tried bullets? Alex, the instructor, literally just said kinetic rounds. Don't work, he said. Kinetic rounds phase through it. Alex's eyes gleamed with that particular human stubbornness that had earned their species a reputation as the galaxy's most unpredictable. What? That means they tried supersonic rounds, railgun slugs, probably mass drivers, all the fancy stuff we developed after we met the galactic community. Jennifer understood immediately, but not the primitive stuff. Not lead moving at subsonic velocities. Alex pulled down a suppressed pistol from the 20th century. Everything phases through because it's moving too fast, existing in too narrow a time frame. But what if we go slower, heavier? That's insane, that's human. 3 weeks later, the alarms shrieked through station AURELIA-9. The Voidwalker had manifested in the cargo bay. Through the observation window, Jennifer could see it, a writhing impossibility that hurt to look at directly. Like her eyes couldn't quite focus on where it was versus where it had been. Station personnel fled in organized panic, just as they'd been trained. Alex stood alone in the corridor leading to the cargo bay, an antique revolver in his hand and a bandolier of custom-loaded rounds across his chest. Jennifer stood beside him, her modern plasma rifle clutched tightly despite knowing it was useless. You're insane, she said. You're still here, Alex countered. Someone needs to witness this for the inevitable inquiry. She paused. Also, you're my friend, and if you're dying stupidly, you're not dying alone. The Voidwalker drifted through the bulkhead as if it weren't there. Reality warped around it, lights flickering, gravity fluctuating. It had no face, but Jennifer felt its attention fix on them, ancient, hungry, and amused. Zreth's panicked voice crackled over their cums. Humans, evacuate. You cannot fight it. Alex raised the revolver. Hey, ugly. The Voidwalker paused. Something that might have been curiosity rippled through its impossible form. Alex fired. The bullet moved almost lazily by modern standards, a massive .45 caliber round, loaded with depleted uranium, moving at a mere 800 feet per second. To any observer who'd witnessed modern combat, it was comically slow, but it didn't phase through. The round struck the Voidwalker dead center of whatever passed for its mass. The creature shrieked a sound that existed in frequencies no human ear should have perceived, but that Jennifer felt in her bones. The bullet, existing in a slower time frame, had synchronized briefly with the Voidwalker's dimensional phasing. It wasn't enough to kill it, but it was enough to hurt it. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the Voidwalker bled. Alex fired again and again, each round hammered into the creature, each strike causing it to convulse and shriek. The thing that had massacred millions, that had driven entire species to extinction, was being driven back by century-old human technology. Jennifer's plasma rifle might be useless, but her tactical mind wasn't. It's anchoring, she shouted into the com. When it's hurt, it solidifies. All units converge with kinetic weapons. The tide turned in the next 30 seconds. Station security arrived with everything from mass drivers to throne wrenches. The Voidwalker, now partially anchored to their reality by Alex's relentless assault, found itself vulnerable. It tried to retreat, to phase away, but Alex had switched to explosive rounds now, each one detonating inside its form and forcing it to remain tangible. When it was over, and the impossible creature lay still as something that existed in 5 dimensions could lie, Instructor Vexler arrived to find 2 humans sitting amid the wreckage. That, Alex said, calmly reloading his antique weapon, is why humans always carry a backup plan. Jennifer laughed, slightly hysterical. The galaxy tries to be sophisticated. We just remember where we came from. Vexler's translator was silent for a long moment before he managed. I will need to update my briefing. Yeah, Alex agreed. You will. The report that circulated through galactic military channels the next day was simple. When fighting impossible enemies, consult humanity. They specialize in impossible solutions.